do Tikta Rasagridas like Tikta Ganpadoladhigrida like conditions. Subacute painful granulomatous thyroiditis. If there is an inflammatory thyroid pathologies, again all the inflammation you need to consider it is if it is painful, it is there will be redness kind of things. You need to consider the hedu as a samapitta. Vyadhi is a resadushti and agni dushti. Why it is agni dushti? Because it can either be an hyperthyroidism or it can be hypothyroidism later. So once it is a phase of hyperthyroidism, you need to do Vada Pitta Shamana Chikitsa. Tikta Pajana, all in case of Pitta Anubandha, you need to do Pajana with Tikta Rasas only. When it is Vada Gaba, again, Kadu Rasa Deepanas can be selected if it is an hypothyroid condition. So since it is you are going to manage Agni, the Aushadas which act on Agnis are Deepanas. That is the most important thing. The Aushadas which act on doshas like Vada Pitta Shamana, Vada Kapha Shamanas are acting on doshas. Aushadas, if you need to act on Agni, it should be Devanas. So that is what important is. Subacute painless lymphocytic thyroiditis. This again, it is because it is painless, it is Sama Kapha. In all kind of Kapha swelling, that is Mandaruk or Aruk. Again, the Vyadhi is Agni Mandya here. Here in Sama Kapha, Pajana with Shadharna, Gomutra, Ridigi, you can use. For managing Agni Mandya, I already said Langana, Devana, Sayana, Svedana, Devana kind of pathologies, kind of treatment principles are ideal. Post-surgical hypothyroidism, again, it is a Dhatu Kshaya Avastha. There is no cause left. It is a Dhatu Kshaya Avastha. You need to directly operate on Agni Mandya Chikitsa. You can use Devana Sarpis. If the avasthas are nirama, you can directly operate on Devana Sarpis. Okay. So again, the other important part while managing, while your intent is to do Pitta Shamana by Tikta Rasas at one part, and in hypothyroid patient you need to stimulate Agni by using Langana, Pajana, Rukshana, Devana kind of methodologies, principles. So along with that, Samsadhana Karma plays a very important, because as you all know, Samsadhana Karma is one such treatment principles or ideologies where it is, though employed in Shodhana, it is very well focused for Agni Deepana. And that can be made used as patyas in while managing the cases of hypothyroidism especially. So you always operate on Manda Peya kind of Yavagu kind of aharas without snehas. So the main idea is to reduce the use of sneha up till these Agnis are getting normal. Once the Agni is established, you try to sustain those Agni by use of sneha. So that is why in the first phase of management for Agni Deepana, you give Churna Asava Rishtas. And second phase, once the Agnis are improving, you tend to improve further, and to sustain those Agni, you use this Grida. So there are other causes also, as I already said. There can be causes related with hypothalamus and pituitary, which is leading to overactivity of underactivity of thyroid. So once it is an overactive of hypothalamus and pituitary, that the main treatment principle should be Vada Shamana Chikitsa. That all the treatments which are mentioned in Shirogada Vada Chikitsas are very useful. Murdani Tailas like Shirodhara and Takradharas are very useful in case of overactive thyroid. That is, in hyperthyroid presentations or increased TSH level presentation, you can use in order to reduce this increased stimulation. Dara kind of chikitsas are very important. Dara kind of chikitsas are more towards acting on Udana Vayu, controlling the Udana Vayu. Shamana Nasyas can be used in case of elevated hyperactive hypothalamic pituitary functions. If the thyroid disorders are due to secondary hyperthyroidism, you can use Shirodharas and Takradharas and Shamana Nasyas. In case of underactive hypothalamic and pituitary underactivity, again, that is, you need to do Vada Shamana Chikitsa. You need to stimulate Vada. So, though you are either you reduce Vada or stimulate, you use the word Vada Shamana. Here you can use Shirogada Vaja, you can use Chirovasti and Shodhana Nasya. In order to stimulate this Prana Nudana in the Shiras, the apt treatment principle will be Shirovasti and Shodhana Nasya. Whereas to suppress the activity or in order to regulate the activity of Vayu in the Shiras, it is better to do Shirodhara. Some Dibana yogas which will be effective, which are very well giving results in kinds of hypothyroidisms, like Panchagola Churna, Panchagola Asava, Chitraga Asavas, Induganda Grida, Dadimadi Grida, Varnadi Grida. When you take the list of these medications, these are all acting at the level of rasas. These are all our Dibanas. These are all our Leguru Shushna Gunas, except Varnadi Grida. Except Varnadi Grida, where Varnadi Grida have an advantage of reducing the cystic swelling also. Shamana Snehas, when you select Shamana Snehanas, ideally you select Tiktaga Gridas. You use Tiktaga Gridas a lot, like Mahatiktaga, Padoladi, Kalyana Gridas are used. You can use Shadavriyadi Grida kind of things where there is wasting developed, when there is a chronic case, when there you develop wasting and you ensure there is certain Shukla Artava kind of presentations. You can select Shadavriyadi Grida. Padana yogas. In Samavadakaba Janya thyroid disorders, you use Shadharana, Induganda Kashaya, Chitragadi Vadi, Gomutra Rigi, Dashamula Kadatraya, kind of Vadakaba Samana yogas, and which are Pajana yogas. These are the Pajana yogas you select in case of inflammatory autoimmune pathologies of Samavadakapa nature. In case of Samapitta, you select Sudarshana Yoga, Amrutotran Kashayam, Punarnavadi Kashaya kind of medicines are selected. These are all Tikta Bhajanas. Those are earlier are Kadu Bhajanas. So far, yogas to reduce the cystic size, probably use Chitraga Granthiyadi Kashaya, Varnadi Kashaya, Punarnavadi Kashaya, Padola Muladi Kashaya, and you can even add Hamsapatyadi or any of the drugs you wish to add if it is a Shopagna and it is Granthiyara. Vamana in hypothyroidism. You can use Vamana in hypothyroidism when there is an Utkrishta dosha in Amashya. That is, if there is a presentation of nausea or vomiting in cases soon after the intake of food. In such case, it's an ideal that there is an Utkrishta dosha in Amashya and that can be readily removed using Vamana. And that can improve the reduction of these symptoms of hypothyroidism, and this can improve the function of Agni as well. In case of hypothyroidism, after the Nirama Avastha, and Vamana can be done even in Ama Avastha, but Virechana is always done in Nirama Avastha. When there is there is Pitta is initiating the pathologies, Madhura Virechana like Avipatti Churnas are better suited in case of hyperthyroidism. So, what I would want to say in this presentation is you need to identify the pathophysiology. In order to, once you identify the pathophysiology, you need to understand this pathophysiology based on Ayurvedic principles. You need to identify this pathophysiology, and based on this pathophysiology, you need to select phase-wise treatment principle in order to get a proper results in the case of thyroid. So I think I have done with what I am supposed to do. Though if there is any doubt which I could clear, I'm open for that.
Thank you so much, sir. All of you, just send your doubts in the chat box. We can have the discussion. So, sir, one of the doubts that we have is that, sir, when at times we'll have problems like by chance we diagnose either a high TSH or a low TSH or a difference in thyroid hormones. So in that case, how is it that we should do the treatment? Because the patient is not showing any of the. Hello?
No, I couldn't get the question. Can you repeat the question, madam?
Sure.
Please repeat.
Sir. Okay. Sir, when it is like by chance we are diagnosing a condition with raised TSH or a low TSH without any significant symptoms the patient is showing, then how should the treatment be?
Actually, it is a subclinical, right? If there is if it is a raised TSH to an extreme level, if it is a raised TSH to an extreme level, if it is greater than 10, okay, If it is greater than 10, you probably if the patient is not showing any symptoms, you should look for signs. Okay, you should look for the signs presenting in the patients. So definitely the patients will have, most of the patients will have fatigue. The patients will have an reduced gastric motility kind of presentation. The patient tend to have reduced intake capacity. The patient will have elevated lipids. These are all those signs and those things which you can identify in those cases. If you see, madam, always thyroid disorders are discovered out of a clinical suspicion than in most early cases. Once it establishes and it develops all these presentations, already it will definitely pick it up. Only this doctor's suspicion in identifying thyroid is more important, and you should look for a lot of signs in thyroid. Okay. So once you get, a patient will have an increased weight gain. They may not be telling it as a problem, but that will be established in case of hypothyroidism. Once TSH is elevated, so once TSH is elevated, you have an idea that the thyroid gland is under functioning, right? Thyroid gland is not able to produce those thyroxine hormone. So definitely Agni Mandya at different levels are always on target. Means you are supposed to get in coming days, or already there are a lot of signs established. In such case, based on those signs and things, you need to operate it, and you should start if in case if TSH is elevated, there is no symptoms and everything. Okay, you look for neck swellings. If in case of there is no neck swellings, you just give an Vata Kapana Shavana Chikitsa and Agni Dipana Chikitsa. You operate on this. You will probably end up regularizing those TSH level. This is what I do it personally.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, another question is like regarding to children. When the children or the below teenagers, when they get thyroid deficiency, we say that it is like they'll have mental retardation or other symptoms like that. So in such cases, what can we do?
Though in case of mental retardation, this happens in very early part. Once there is cretinism, like if it is in hypothyroidism in childhood, because such cases are now being actively screened in the hospital for these thyroid levels. So such cases are only possible if the case is within congenital hypothyroidism. If there is a case where these glands are not formed well, such pathologies will be there. Congenital pathologies, certain structural pathologies, those are the possibility. In such cases, usually the modern thing is they will initiate thyroxine as such. If the same thing in case of this sahaja kind of presentations where there is a neonatal or early infancy, there is reduced level of thyroid hormones, you need to understand the pathology, because in such case it's a congenital pathology, there is a structural pathology. So there may not be a follicular cell, there will not be a thyroid peroxidase activity. There shall be cases where there is no thyroglobin formation. The formation of thyroglobin is not, they are not able to deiodinase. Such things may be there. So in such cases, there is no existing pathologies which is causing a problem like inflammation or autoimmunity. In such cases, you need to do Grida Snehas. That is important. You need to do Sneha Dibanas. You need to select Dibanas which are Snehas. For example, you need to give Indugandha Grida or Dadimati Grida in a Shamana dose for a longer period. This is how we need to manage those neonatal conditions. In such cases, for example, if they for central nervous system development, we need to have this thyroxine. That is more important. In such cases, we can even operate on medications which are better for the central nervous system development. Like we can select Kalyana Grida also. We can select Kalyana Grida. We can add like Saindava in Kalyana Grida. We may just give as a Shamana Sneha. Our idea is to restore. It's not possible in case of congenital hypothyroidism to re-establish this thyroxine level until the supplementation is the only way. But if that case is managed by us, we will be providing such supplementation by Dibana Gridas, like Indugandha and Dadimadi is what we will select. If the presentation is kind of mental retardation, such kind of presentation, we will be focusing on Gridas which will operate on central nervous system also, like Kalyanaga, Mahakalyanaga will be the choice. as Shamana Sneha is the only choice, but that is not the ideal treatment. You need to refer them for thyroxine supplementation because that is the most important thing. Because that is available, the established treatment is there. You need to send them to this thyroxine supplement, and add on you can use this Sneha, Divana Snehas. This is my suggestion.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sir, another question raises that can you please clear on the point that you've already mentioned that hyperthyroid cases there will be overutilization of vitamins and hence there will be vitamin deficiencies. So how about hypothyroid cases?
Yeah, hypothyroid cases, there because the vitamins are being overused for synthesis of lot of enzymes. These thyroid hormones tend to synthesize lot of enzymes. So for formation of these enzymes, lot of vitamins are being used. So in case of hypothyroidism, there will be no synthesis of any enzymes. So these vitamins, hypervitamins, like in elevated levels of vitamins, are the unutilized vitamins will be there. One such condition is like hypercarotinemia, that vitamin A level in the blood will be raised, and that will cause a kind of an yellow pigmentation in the skin, and that won't be seen in sclera. Okay, so such conditions are also seen. So why these vitamins are being not utilized? Because that is not being utilized for this enzyme synthesis. That is what thing is. So in case of hypothyroidism, you need to synthesize those enzymes. You need to do Agni Deepana Chikitsa.
Okay, sir. Sir, regarding the soya, does soya have a goitrogenic effect?
I came to learn that this question was discussed in the first lecture itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I came.
But the modern doctor, yeah.
I'll tell you. There are a lot of goitrogens being identified. Okay, there are a lot of goitrogens, and still those goitrogens are not sufficient to cause hypothyroidism. Only by dose dependent and use dependent, means if it is prolongedly used for a longer period and a longer dose, then only that will inhibit this iodine trapping mechanism. Either they trap this iodine, prevent them from entering into thyroid gland, or they prevent this iodination to the tyrosine molecule. These are the two things which they inhibit. But only when they used in a large proportion, that can cause a thing. And these are things. And only when they consume it daily, and only when in particular area, in endemic areas, goitrogen.
Hello, sir. Hello. Dear attendees, he's trying to reconnect.
Hello, sir. Can you hear? Please unmute, sir. Please unmute.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, could you please repeat the answer, sir, because it was not audible.
Okay. So thing is like you see, there was an. It is said that there are a lot of there are a lot of goitrogens. Only that goitrogen can cause it will interrupt this thyroxine formation when it is taken in a large doses for a quite longer period of time, and that too in an endemic area. For example, in Malappuram, taking tapioca can cause thyroid disorder. But the same, which is the same tapioca when taken at Wayanad will cause this goitrogenic effect, but doesn't happen when it is taken at Malappuram. The area is also important. So area where it is endemic for this goiter, in that area, these kind of diets to be avoided. That is what my opinion is regarding the use of these goitrogens in the diet. Hope it is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is clear, sir. Thank you so much. So the next question was, it was like Samana Vayu and the target tissues and all. You have given a classification, right? For T4 and all, Resa Agni, you have to consider thyroid, Resa, you have to consider. So in such classification, that is like we can take it like in for understanding purpose, or clinically can we like well differentiate this?
Yeah, definitely. For example, if there is a pranavayu dushti, you can concentrate treating pranavayu by its aushadakala. If there is an Udanavayu Dushti, you can concentrate treating Udanavayu, its Aushadakala. If you treat Samanavayu, again you can treat. In Samanavayu disorders like Gulma, Sabakta Aushada is given. Yavagu Siddha, Tiktarasa Siddha Yavagu, or Dibane Aushada Siddha Yavagus. These are Sabakta Aushada Prayogas. So these are ideal treatment principles, ideal Aushada Galas, if you understand only these Vayus. So Aushada Kala is one purpose for understanding these lot of Vayus. The other thing is these Vayus can be managed with some different treatments. For example, in Pranavayu, you can use the treatments of Shirogada Vada Chikilsa. In Udana Vayu, you can use Jatru Urdhva Shodhana Chikilsa. In Vyana Vayu, you can use Sneha Virejana as a Chikilsa. In Samana Vayu, you can use Dibana, Atisara, Gulma Chikilsas. In Abana Vayu, as already you know, you can choose Vastis and you can use lot of Vasti Roga Chikilsa, etc. Mutra Vega Roga Chikilsa. So, understanding Vayu is very essential for management. It is quite essential for managing the disease.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, another question is that what medicines can, or what is the treatment principle that we can adopt for hypoutilization of pituitary gland or hypoactivation of pituitary gland?
Hypoactivity of pituitary gland. When the glandular activity, pituitary activity is reduced. Okay, if it is pituitary activity is reduced means if TSH secretions are reduced or low. That is the area where you can see that what cause in pituitary is causing. There is a condition called Sheehan syndrome after postpartum hemorrhage. There will be total disruption of this pituitary thyroid troughs. So they won't able to secrete TSH. So then that cases, that is because that tissue is damaged and you may not be able to restore those gland or activity. Sheehan syndrome. That is one case is Sheehan syndrome. But if the functionally this activity of pituitary is it's not able to get stimulated, or the TRH, the thyrotropic releasing hormone from hypothalamus is not able to stimulate pituitary, in such cases prana udana vayu stimulation need to be done, because this prana udana is operating at the level of hypothalamus and pituitary. So in order to stimulate udana vayu, in order to stimulate Udana Vayu, you can, I already said, for stimulation, Shirovastis are very good. You can use Shirovasti, you can use Shodhana Nasyas. This will means regulate the functions of Prana Udana. Once the functions is regulated, they will be able to activate this pituitary gland. Hope it is clear.
Hello? Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. It is very clear. And this Nasya, sir, with what all can we do it? Like pitta enhancing drugs? Is it
No.
any dosha predominant? No.
No, that is not for increasing dosha. That is just for regularizing those vayus. In order to treat this Udana Vayu and Prana Vayu, we never increase or decrease. We just do Anulomana. We just want Udana Vayu to flow through proper srotas so that its function is executed. Right? For example, if Udana Vayu is underactive, that means there will be some Kapha Samsushta Vayu. If there is a Kapha of the Vayu, in that case, we need to do Shodhana. So that, in that case, all kind of Shodhana Nasyas. That is what is like. You can use Anudaila, this Natya, Chatapushpa Taila. These are the we use for stimulation. The same thing, Shirovasti is also a good stimulant.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, another question is like related to vitamin A. You have discussed like hypervitaminosis is observed, but can we see cases? We also see cases where vitamin D, B, etc., as well as iron is getting deficient. So, how can we manage this condition?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Reduction of vitamin is seen in hyperthyroidism. Okay. Elevation of vitamin is seen in hypothyroidism. So in case of hyperthyroidism, you need to provide those nutrients. So vitamins, the minerals, zinc, all kind of trace elements, all kind of principal carbohydrate, protein, these are all considered as dhatu sneha. These are the nourishment for dhadus. So once this nourishment is being overutilized or it is being the storage system is getting depleted, you need to replenish it by appropriate sneha. So in any dhatu, you need to restore sneha. Once you restore sneha, these vitamin is also restored. Okay. So you need to select ideal snehas.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, in cases like when there is iodine deficiencies or in endemic cases and all, that Nidana, in spite of Nidana Parivarjana, some people get back. When you do the Nidana Parivarjana, some people get back to normalcy. But there will be also certain cases where even after Nidana Parivarjanam, there may be very high damage of tissues or something. So in such cases, what can we do? Is analyzing the dosha in this way, analyzing the dosha signs and symptoms, can we have good results on it?
Actually, I was searching for this in chat box. I couldn't find, so I couldn't able to recollect your question. Actually, can you please say it once more?
Okay, sir. Sir, in iron deficiency disorders, like thyroid disorders, in some people, they get
iodine deficiency.
Iodine deficiency, yes. So some people will get back to normalcy when the Nidana Parivarjanam is done. But in certain cases, even after doing Nidana Parivarjanam, the problems will be so high that some tissues might have get damaged or something like that has happened, and the people may not come back to its normalcy. So in such cases, when there is in such cases, what can we do? Is it that
iodine deficiency? Iodine deficiency is not common. Okay, it's not that common, but the demand of iodine may rise in some important period of growth, like in case of puberty time, in menarche time, pubertal development, and in pregnancy. In such cases, the demand for this thyroid gland activity is more, so they may be needing more iodine. Okay, but our water sources, our supplements have a lot of iodine right now. The problem is only at the endemic areas where there also the iodized salt has already completely revised this iodine deficiency status. So probably this iodine deficiency, you need to restore it only. You need to give a supplement only. You need to improve nutrition. So how you need to how you can improve this iodine thing is you need to identify it by giving this is it's a kind of a kshara dravya, like it's an salt like thing, it's an thing. It is like you need to use it the because by this water use of water, use of cereals, vegetables, kind of multiple diet only we need to restore this iodine. There is no other way to provide an Ayurvedic supplement for iodine. I'm not able to exactly say which things to be done. So you need to use this iodized elements only for in case of iodine deficiencies. But I don't think this iodine deficiency is a problem. Once the iodine utilization is a problem, there may be conditions which is this preventing this iodine utilize. Such cases you need to address the case. If it is a cases where it is an autoimmune or it's an inflammatory pathology or it's a goitrogen like pathologies, you need to address the such things only, and it will reverse. It will definitely reverse once the iodine uptake is improved. And thing is, usually our body can store the thyroid gland is the only place which can store iodine. 95% of body's iodine is stored in thyroid gland. It is the only gland which can have storage. And thus, with that storage, it can survive for 3 months. It can survive for 3 months without showing any deficiencies. So, I don't think this iodine deficiency is a problem. And I don't know what you mean by those damages which is occurring. I don't know. Once if there is an autoimmune kind of pathologies, these follicular cells will be destructed. Once those cells are destructed, and they will be permanently not able to synthesize this thyroxine. So in such cases, they will be having hypothyroidism for lifetime, and they need to be restored by this use of T3 and T4s like thyroxine supplement. But in case of iodine deficiency, those damages won't happen in the gland.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sir, when there is a drug-induced hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, what can we do? So, can we actually understand it by these tests, or can we understand it by any means?
There are the para-aminosalicylic acid. Okay. There are certain drugs which are said that it is preventing this iodine uptake. If that drugs are being used, you need to avoid those drug-induced hypothyroidism. Okay, you need to avoid those drugs. That is the only method. There is no other way. And you can identify thus by checking this free T3, T4. If this T3, T4 is low, you definitely, if the TSH is elevated, that means the drug is halting those thyroxine synthesis. So in such cases, there are a lot of identified drugs which you have already gone through previous sessions. So in those drugs need to be stopped. In drug-induced case, you need to stop those drugs.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And one more question is that while giving Ayurveda medicines, and if the patient is taking modern medicine also, so how can we taper the dose of the modern medicine while we give our medicines?
Okay, you see, in thyroid cases, until it's not a Graves' disease. Okay, it is not a case of hyperthyroidism. In supplement of hypothyroidism, you can stop those medications. If the patient is having an severe myxedema kind of things, and kind of decreased level of alertness, sluggishness, kind of an dysfunction with this consciousness, it is like, for example, if there's a patient is going to murcha and kind of presentation history is there, in such case, and probably you may not withdraw those cases. Okay, that can put you in trouble. But other cases who are doing well with this 50 or 100 or 125 mg thyroxine, you can abruptly stop those things. That is, you won't cause any much of dysfunctions. You can manage with our medications. There is no issues. And as I already said, these things, there will be a lot only when cases where alarming symptoms like coma is projected. you can stop those medications abruptly once you start our medications. If you would like to taper in doses, probably you can taper in doses of less. You can reduce it 25 mg. You can put her for 3 days. Again, you can stop another 25 mg. You can put her for another 3 days. Such kind of things for an 10 days or 15 days interval, you can stop it mildly. If the patient is reporting any adverse symptoms or any elevated symptoms of hypothyroidism, probably you need to check if your supportive care is that good to take care of those symptoms. If that is okay, there is no problem. You will be successfully stopping those medications.
Thank you so much, sir. In case of pregnant women, sir, what all are the medicines that we can actually give?
In case of pregnancy, you see, all those things are even in pregnancies. There can be chance of Graves' disease. There can be chance of Hashimoto's. Okay, autoimmune pathology, inflammatory pathology can happen, and again there can be hypothyroidism as well as hyperthyroidism. Because in pregnancy, this human chorionic gonadotrophin hormone can stimulate these thyroid hormone receptors to synthesize lot of thyroxine. So in pregnancy is predisposing for hyperthyroidism. In one condition is there, this HCG, this placental HCG it's similar to this TSH. So it can stimulate this receptor to cause elevated thyroxines and even causes enlargement. So these things are there. The chance of hyperthyroidism in pregnancy is there. In such cases, you need to deactivate it. You need to deactivate those increased elevation. The safe thing is you can use these Pitta Shamana, Vada Pitta Shamana Kashayas or Prajana Kashayas, or you can use Shamana Snehapana later. If it is an autoimmune pathology, you need to select Tikta Pajanas. You can directly give Punarnavadi Kashaya, you can give Shadanga, you can use Amrita Shadanga as Panaga. Probably use in a very low dose manner as an Panaga. You can use it as an Panaga Kalpana. This is the thing we can use. Probably giving Sneha in pregnancy is a little bit difficult, but once those things are, these adverse symptoms are being addressed, then it will not be an issue. But since this is a sensitive issue, handling pregnancy is a sensitive issue, probably chances of miscarriages are a lot. And chances of hyperemesis gravidarum is more common in cases of hyperthyroidism. So that cases cannot be handled by us. Probably you need to shift her for a standard care. It is not wise to treat those cases with Ayurvedic medicine alone, because chances of this pregnancy loss is there. You can treat this as an add-on treatment. You can use those Pitta Shamana, Pajana, Panagas can be used in pregnancy in case of hyperthyroidism. In hypothyroidism, you can definitely use this Vata Kapha Shamana, Dibana Aushadas. Ideal in pregnancy, probably you don't give much of Ruksha Gunas. So Dibana Sneha, as in pediatric group you use Snehapanas, even in Garbinis or Brahmana Arhas. So ideal is to use a very low dose Snehas. Indugandha Gridas, Dadimadi Gridas can be used in a low dose, like in 2 ml or 2.5 ml can be used.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one more question, like when a person has been exposed to iodine therapy and all, post-iodine therapy, radiation therapy or iodine radiation therapy. So in such cases, how can we manage the patient?
I already said, madam, like once the gland is being distracted, there is no point to stimulate those glands. Okay. So what we can do is we need to create the atmosphere as like this thyroid gland active. I already said it. The activity of thyroxine hormone is similar to that of starvation. It is langana. The action of thyroxine hormone is creating a good langana in the body. So what you do is you provide a Langana kind of atmosphere by providing a Laguguna Aharas. You give Dibana Aushadas. You ideally give Rukshana based on their presentations. Or else you need to have a direct, this thyroxine supplement is very, very essential. Because once this gland is been distracted, there is no point to improve those gland activity. Once it is distracted, it is Dhatu Kshaya has happened, it has happened. So by giving this, you cannot improve this Dhatu once Dhatu is already been absent. So there what you do is you create like an Agni that will be acting on Resurrecta Mamsa. So what you need to do is you need to improve thyroxine-like activity in Rasadhatu. So what you do is Rasa Bhajana. That is what you need to do. Rasadhatu Agni Vriddhi Chikilsa. Vyayama will definitely improve this Rasadhatu Agni. So such kind of measures is what we can offer in those cases. But the idea is not to re-establish those distracted gland. Definitely not. We will be also giving a kind of a supplement kind of things. We have a lot of options. We can create Langana. That is one option. We can create Rukshana. That's another option. We can give Dibana. So Langana, Rukshana, Dibana is an ideal thyroid-like activity which we can offer through Ayurveda, and we have a lot of options which I was discussing throughout my presentation that can be used ideally.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, in case of certain viral infections, we have already discussed about subacute thyrotoxicosis. So in such cases, when the patient is being affected with such conditions, can we give some medicines to protect the thyroid from getting affected?
In case of viral infection, definitely. You need to do once a patient is undergoing any viral infection, you need to treat the infection properly. Once these viral infections are not treated properly, probably these immune antibodies are formed at those times. They will form an antibodies. This antibody will have a mimic effect. They will this virus is similar to these TSH receptors or thyroperoxidase enzyme like nature will be there. That is a mimicking activity. So such thing will happen. Once these viral infections are very well treated, the chance of autoimmune infection post this viral or inflammatory disorder post this viral infection won't happen. So once it is established, you need to treat those viral infections. For prevention, what I would supposed to do say is, in any infection, proper Langana Pajana, Vishagna Aushadha needs to be given. Means this use of this kind of antibiotics and other things will complicate those tissues. Recurrent infections are always chances of autoimmunity. Chronic infections are also chance of autoimmunity. Allergy is also a kind of an immune dysfunction. All immune dysfunctions need to be properly treated and prevented. Ideal thing is the initial management of any infections and inflammation in Ayurveda is Langana and Pajana. If you do it properly, probably you will end up reducing lot post-viral complications. This is my understanding.
Thank you so much, sir. There is one more question. In relation to PCOD, when PCOD is mostly associated with thyroid complaints also. So how can we manage like both together? What all are the medicines
PCOD
and what all can...
You see, so I generally want to equate this thyroxine hormone activity to Rasadhatu Agni activity at some point. So it is like it is a synergetic activity to all Dhatu Agni. Similarly, this thyroxine is also augmenting this Rasadhatu Agni. So Rasadhatu Agni is responsible for all those activity in Rasas and also those conversion of Rasa to Artava. Okay, so in PCOD also this Rasadhatu Agni is already being it's undergoing dysfunction because of this Samanavayu disturbances by Kapha dosha. It is PCOD is nothing but Kapha Avrta Samanavayu in Artha Sodas. or Rasavasrodas. These two things is the happening in PCOD. It is Kapha Avrta Samanavayu in Rasavasrodas and Arthavasrodas. So it is reduced Agni due to Vata Kapha. Reduced to Agni due to Vata Kapha. It is similar to hypothyroidism in Rasadadu. Hypothyroid, Agni Mandya in Rasadadu is happening in hypothyroidism. It is happening in PCOD. That is why both have a similar presentations. So, what is the ideal management is in case of in PCOD, you try to treat this Kapha Avrta Samanavayu in Shukla, Artava, Srotas both. But in hypothyroidism, you treat this Kapha Avrta Samanavayu in Rasadadu itself. So both are having reduced this Rasadadu Agni activity, and that is why they share a common clinical picture of amenorrhea or oligomenorrhea. So to treat this doha, you give Kaphahara Chikitsa. To treat this Samanavayu and Rasadadu Agni, you treat Dibana Chikitsa. To restore this normal Rasadadu for converting into Artava, you give normal Sneha Chikitsa. These three things need to be managed. You need to do Kabahara Chikitsa, you need to do Dibara Chikitsa, you need to do Snehana Chikitsa. Once you establish these three, the activity of Agni is there, the Srodas is clear from all doshas, then you provide a Sneha that will convert into Artava. So this is how you need to manage this amenorrhea in hypothyroidism as well as in PCOD. The more difference is in PCOD, you will be having polycystic appearance and there will be elevated androgens. In PCOD, those things won't happen because Shuklavasrodas is not affected in hypothyroidism as in that much in female. These androgenic symptoms are not there. When you keep away these androgenic symptoms of PCOD, both share a common pathophysiology.
So thank you so much, sir. So could you please explain a little more on this Snehana part of the treatment to increase the Artava? You told that there should be a Kabahara treatment, Dibana Chikitsa, and then this Snehana part should be there for restoring the Artava. So what can we give as Snehana?
Yeah, thing is, the Rasa's nutrient is a precursor for Artava. Rasad Upadadu is Tanya and Artava. So it is formed from Rasa. The Artava Dadu is utilizing Rasa to form this Artava or hormones. So you need to have a proper Rasadadu so that from those Rasadadu and proper Artava is formed. So what I mean to say is the normal hormone production, or we call it as steroidogenesis, or this oogenesis is the result of a quality Rasadadu. That is why in abnormal Rasadushti there is abnormal ovulation, or there is clavia, or there is reproductive dysfunctions are more. So how a normal rasa is, you need to establish a normal snigdada or normal snehada in Rasadadu. If you feed more sneha in Rasadadu, probably the Agni cannot utilize those abnormal huge amount of sneha for developing the Artava. So for that you need to clear those abnormal snehas first. That is done by Pajana and Rukshana. Then by doing Pajana and Rukshana, this Agni will be little bit able to digest things. And again you give Dibana Aushadas. Once those Rasadadu Agni is okay, you need to establish Rasa Sneha again. For Rasa Sneha, you need ideal Snehas to establish Rasadadu. You can use Dadimadi Grida, you can use Sugumara Grida, you can use Phalasarpis. These Snehas are very well. If these Snehas are re-established, this will help you in proper ovum development. This is what I want about to mention in this Sneha component.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session, and thank you for sharing such a lot of information to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I'm exiting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And to all, and to all the attendees, please note that we don't have a class on Wednesday. We have the next class on Friday. Kindly note. Thank you so much.